But the news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
The WNBA is getting a wake-up call, and it's not a pleasant one. Without Caitlin Clark in the spotlight, the postseason has taken a major hit. Playoff ratings are plunging, and fans are tuning out faster than a phone dying on low battery. Now the league is scrambling to figure out how to bring the excitement back. Did the audience disappear completely, or just find their thrills elsewhere, maybe even in pickleball highlights? One thing's for sure, this playoff drama is becoming just as wild as any reality TV showdown.
Is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership numbers.
The WNBA had high hopes for this season. This was supposed to be the turning point, the breakout year, the moment the league showed it could stand shoulder to shoulder with the biggest stages in sports. But instead of a clean leap forward, it feels more like the league stumbled, tripped over its own feet, and landed in a messy spotlight. And now, instead of looking like progress, it almost looks like damage control.
A shocker! Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
Let's be real, this WNBA season has been equal parts thrilling and chaotic. On the court, fans have seen a flood of injuries, questionable foul calls, and refereeing that leaves everyone scratching their heads. Meanwhile, the league office hasn't exactly convinced anyone that player safety is a top priority. And for those tuning in for entertainment, many probably checked out once Caitlin Clark was sidelined more often than she played, thanks to defenders treating her like she's built for crash tests instead of basketball highlights.
Think about Caitlin Clark. The operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
You know the season's in trouble when the biggest drama isn't on the court. It's fans wondering if the league can even survive until the playoffs wrap up. And while the WNBA isn't collapsing just yet, it feels like it's being held together by nothing more than wishful thinking and a shaky plea of, please don't notice how rough this looks.
WNBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars. For the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like Kate.
And then we get to the officiating, if you can even call it that. This season's referees look like they were recruited straight from a shopping mall lunch break. One still polishing off a slice of pizza while deciding if a play is a flagrant. Another looks more prepared to referee a roller derby than a basketball game. Consistency? Forget it. One night a hard shove doesn't even get a whistle. The next night a loud sneeze sends a player packing. If referees had their own stat sheet this season, it would show 0 assists, 0 rebounds, and bad calls on every single possession.
The WNBA has a problem. And that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-popping.
Now let's talk injuries, because this season has looked less like a basketball league and more like a checklist for an orthopedic surgeon. Caitlin Clark has spent nearly as much time recovering as she is actually playing, mostly because defenders treat her like a target owed on a debt. Every drive to the rim turns into a test of how hard she can get knocked around before the refs even bother to notice, and she's not the only one caught in this storm. The league has been losing stars at a pace that feels impossible to keep up with. When Angel Reese walked away mid-season, what should have been a shocking headline almost felt like a statement about the state of the league itself. After all, when the commissioner can't steady the ship, referees look like they're auditioning for clown school, and players are hitting the injury list like it's summer clearance. Who wouldn't think about stepping back? Reese probably decided it was better to cash in her time online than risk getting hit like she was trying out for the NFL.
That's not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up. We want to get these numbers.
Here's the truth, none of this exists in isolation. The WNBA has been asking fans for years to take the league seriously, to see it as more than just an afterthought. But the problem is, the league itself isn't helping its own case. The commissioner treats player protection like it's optional, and enforcing rules to keep stars safe seems almost too radical of an idea. For a brief moment, the Caitlin Clark effect changed everything. ESPN acted like they cared, highlights made it onto SportsCenter, and even Twitter pretended to know the difference between a pick and roll and a dinner roll. But the second Clark went down, ratings collapsed. It was proof of what happens when your entire marketing plan relies on one player, and your refereeing strategy seems to be, let her take a beating. Sure, some will say it's just bad luck, that injuries are part of sports, that questionable calls happen everywhere. But let's be honest, this is more than bad breaks. This is bad leadership. The commissioner has been sitting on the sidelines like a substitute teacher with zero control of the classroom. Instead of solving problems, the league ignored them. Star players walked away? No big deal. Referees made games unwatchable? Fans will stay, right? Spoiler alert, they didn't.
At Indiana against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again, and over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do things like
the players who are still standing aren't really playing basketball anymore. It's starting to look more like a mix of rugby and professional wrestling. Some games feel less like the playoffs and more like WWE SummerSlam, where you half expect someone to pull out a steel chair, and yet, the commissioner keeps smiling in interviews, insisting the league is growing and building momentum. That's like me saying I'm taller just because I threw on a pair of heels. Calling this season progress is like calling a house fire a new lighting setup. It's pure delusion. The truth is, these athletes are giving everything they have while the system around them falls apart. They don't deserve refs who blow whistles like they're at a kid's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their health like an afterthought. And they don't deserve a league that only markets them when it's easy, then abandons them when the going gets tough. Now, as the season drags to the finish line, the WNBA is left with sinking ratings, injured stars, and fans openly questioning if the league can even withstand another year like this. If this was supposed to be the season of growth, then mission accomplished, because it's grown into the biggest disaster imaginable.
Caitlin Clark thing, man, I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. They say ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark.
Maybe next season the commissioner will finally treat player safety like it matters. Maybe referees will remember what a foul actually is. And maybe stars like Caitlin Clark will be able to finish a season without getting tackled into an early retirement plan. But right now, the WNBA isn't on shaky ground because fans don't care. It's because leadership doesn't. This was supposed to be the year of sold-out arenas, long ticket lines, and buzz like the launch of a brand new iPhone. Instead, what fans got were rows of empty seats echoing louder than the referees' whistles. Popcorn vendors are practically begging for someone to buy a snack, and ticket sales look more like clearance racks from a failing department store. The league insists it's expanding the fan base, but fans seem more focused on expanding their Netflix watch list than buying tickets. Without Clark pulling in viewers, Cunningham keeping the energy alive, or re-stirring up headlines, attendance has collapsed faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake, and the wildest part? The league is still trying to spin it. Social media posts keep rolling out with lines like, "Another thrilling night of WNBA action." Meanwhile, the replies are packed with fans asking which game they're talking about, because it clearly wasn't the one they just saw. When your marketing tweets turn into meme material filled with tumbleweed jokes, it's not hype anymore, it's a punchline.
Rhodes, well, how about this? Pay us what you owe us. That looks like a ham sandwich and some Lay's tater chips right now. It's getting bad. I feel bad for Caitlin Clark. She come out and said on Sue Bird's podcast that she's feeling the pressure of not playing in these games. And that Fever Sky viewership fell off the map.
And then there's the commissioner, easily deserving an award for pretending everything is fine. Every interview sounds like a highlight reel of denial. The league is stronger than ever. That's the sports equivalent of the Titanic's captain bragging about the ship's view from the ocean floor. Sure, it's technically still afloat, but not in the way anyone hoped. That she's mastered the art of distraction, like a magician waving shiny cards while the stage behind her burns. And when fans call her out, about injuries piling up, referees making a mess of games, or the complete lack of player protection, what do we get? Silence? Or a prepackaged "we're reviewing protocols" line that solves nothing? Meanwhile, leagues like the NFL bend over backward to protect their stars. Quarterbacks are treated like rare paintings. You so much as brush against Patrick Mahomes and a flag flies instantly. But in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark can be slammed into the scorer's table, and the response is, play on. It's not rocket science. Without your stars, nobody watches. Without them, ratings collapse, ticket sales vanish, and the momentum the league worked so hard to build disappears. Fans see it, players feel it, and that's why frustration is boiling over.
Good news and some bad news for those who are fans of pretend basketball. For those who are desperate to see the WNBA succeed, even though this dump of a league can't seem to get the hell out of their own way. Now, the WNBA, they refer to these people as fans, but the rest of us, we prefer to call them the mainstream media.
Now let's give credit where it's due, the fans. Honestly, they deserve medals for sticking with the WNBA this season. These are people buying tickets, rocking jerseys, showing up to support their players, and what do they get in return? Empty arenas, endless injuries, and officiating that makes high school intramurals look like the NBA Finals. Diehards must feel like they're stuck in a toxic relationship. They keep hoping things will change, but instead the league forgets their loyalty, wrecks the product, and somehow still blames them for not being supportive enough. On social media, the frustration is impossible to ignore. Every league highlight post gets buried under the same comments. Protect Caitlin Clark. Where's the leadership? Why does this ref still have a job? And why are tickets priced higher than my phone bill for games that look like Sunday pickup at the YMCA? Here's the reality. Financially, the league can't survive many more seasons like this. Ratings have cratered, ticket sales are embarrassing, star power is evaporating, and momentum collapsed the moment Caitlin Clark was sidelined. It feels like the WNBA is hanging from a cliff by one pinky finger while the commissioner shouts down, "Don't worry, we're growing." But if this league falls, let's be clear, it won't be because fans didn't care. It won't be because women's sports can't thrive. It will be because leadership failed the players, failed the fans, failed itself. Because how do you build a sustainable future when every year turns into who's injured this time? How do you earn loyalty when referees make games unwatchable? And how do you grow when your biggest stars are more likely to end the season on crutches than holding a trophy?
You see, this is exactly what we were talking about. WNBA All-Star ratings are in for 2025, and it is down 40%. 40% from last year. That's bad. That is really bad. We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing. This is bad news for the WNBA.
And let's not sugarcoat it. This season is already a failure. No amount of PR spin can change that. You can't slap new paint on a collapsing building and call it a mansion. The WNBA can hype up the playoffs, roll out glossy marketing, and tweet about historic moments, but fans aren't fooled. What they've actually seen is one long blooper reel. The real tragedy is the wasted opportunity. Caitlin Clark had the world paying attention. Casual fans were tuning in, conversations were happening, and for once, there was real momentum. But instead of building on it, the league became a case study in how not to run professional sports. Want to lose momentum? Let your stars get injured without protection. Want to tank ratings? Let your referees ruin games. Want to destroy loyalty? Charge premium prices for matchups that look more like a rec league scrimmage than elite competition. It's a masterclass in self-sabotage. And the sad part is, it doesn't have to be this way. With real leadership, competent officiating, and a commissioner who actually puts player safety first, the WNBA could thrive. Instead, fans are being forced to watch a slow-motion collapse. One twisted ankle, one bad call, one wasted opportunity at a time.
All of you guys can sit there and say, oh, you guys are just trying to uplift one player. Oh, the league is more than one. I agree, the league is more than one player. It's more than one good basketball player. But is there more than one player that moves the tide? No.
As this season drags to its ugly end, let's call it what it is, a mess. A spectacular, frustrating, embarrassing mess. The commissioner can talk about growth all she wants, but fans aren't buying it. They see the reality on the court. And unless there's a real overhaul, unless the league stops treating its stars like they're disposable, this cycle isn't going anywhere. That if this season proved one thing, it's this. Hype doesn't matter, marketing doesn't matter, even star power doesn't matter, if the league can't protect the very players who make it all possible. Until that changes, the WNBA will keep stumbling from one season to the next, while fans are left wondering why they should keep caring when it feels like the league itself doesn't.